So, I've been playing this game for 10 years now. What the fuck happened? It's a long time, man. Like, I started playing this game in 2008. It was in July 2008. I found it via a video on game trailers. You know, there's like an old gaming site with all sorts on. I used to watch a lot of like Screw Attack stuff on there, and I was just browsing through it at one point, and I saw in the related videos of something. There was a video of the Super Mario Brothers theme tune in this game called Osu, and I stumbled on it, and it looked kind of fun. So I was like, you know what, I'll give that a go. Why not? I went and downloaded it. Looked pretty fun. And first thing I did was immediately download all of the Toho maps I could find. Like every single one. I was such a Toho nerd back then. I just like discovered Toho as well, and I was a pretty big fanboy of that. The first map I ever played, actually, I remember this. It was Kanbu, DJ Pop map. It was like recently ranked at the time, I think. And I played the normal at first. I played it on the laptop that I downloaded this program on. I downloaded Osu originally on my mum's laptop and tried to play it with the trackpad, and yeah, it went great. I stuck with it ever since. Nah, it was bad. It was bad. I even tried it, playing it with that little sort of like nipple you get in the middle of the keyboard. Didn't help. It didn't go well. It went a lot better when I managed to transfer it to my actual PC, my mighty Pentium 3. What an absolute beast that was, man. Absolute beast. I played for like a month after I downloaded it. I played it like on and off, here and there. And then I stopped playing it so I could play lots of S4 League, because that's what I was into at the time. Fucking S4 League. I got to semi-pro in that. I was so proud. And I stopped playing until about October of 2008. Then I came back and I pretty much never stopped playing since then. I actually made my first map a month later, in November. It was the original version of Taboo Tears You Up. Like, I started off with that because it was quite cool, and Toho, of course, and it was bad. I really wish I still had it so I could show you how bad it was, but I don't, because I actually remapped it about a year later. I don't have the original anymore. Maybe that's for the best. It was 2009 when I started getting serious about the whole score farm thing. And I started going through playing every single ranked map for the sake of getting rank. Pretty much started around the turn of the year here, and it was March when I first got #1. Cyclone was #1 at the time, so I usurped him. He was there for a while, actually. I remember when I went for that, it was like an evening just before school. I spent like a good 2 hours near midnight or so. Well, I was pretty knackered trying to squeeze out score, because at that point I'd played every single ranked map. So I was going around like trying to improve my accuracy on maps where I dropped a lot to get a little bit more score here and there, because that's how it was at that point. Because really by then the top 5 people have usually played every single ranked map, and they tend to play everything new that comes out. So, you know, you can imagine as well, when a new map gets ranked, everyone around the top ranks jumps on it to get the score. Yeah, I sat around grinding a load of score until I eventually just about took #1, and I celebrated by going to bed because I was tired. I put a little thing in the old chat in #Osu back when everyone used it, and yeah, I just went to bed because I had school in the morning. So yeah, that was pretty much the start of that. I spent the next 2 years going ham with the score ranking. I'd always keep up with the newly ranked maps and just play everything, just to try and hold my rank. Over the next 2 years until like 2011, I took #1 and lost it and took it again, and just fought around with that. I think the longest stint I had was about 6 months or so, I think it was, which is a long fucking time now I say it. Yeah, I think it was about like in 2010 or so, or like late 2009, I don't remember. I had #1 for like 6 months. This is also the time when I started getting into mapping more. I mean, after the original really shitty Taboo Tears You Up map, I mapped a bunch more. I got my first ranked map around this time, which was Help Me Erin. It was a cool and create tune. It was AR6 and had super fast sliders. It was great. And it had cool art, storyboard text. It's quality. It was also bubbled by Pepe and ranked by Lato. Yeah, Pepe occasionally did modding back then, and he liked the map and he gave it a bubble. So thanks, Pepe, you got me on board with the mapping thing. I mapped a few more as well. I also remapped Taboo Tears You Up and got that ranked as well. I also finished my first map for the Zun Non-Stop medley. It's like a 20-minute Toho marathon that I got ranked. I mapped the first version here. It had a big storyboard and everything, and it's all running on my old Pentium 3. It was so fucking long that like every 20 minutes or so my Osu would crash, so I'd be constantly saving every couple minutes, hoping not to lose much. Like, I've no fucking idea how I managed to finish mapping that thing. Like, I don't know. I was very patient. I got into modding a lot as well. Like, while I was mapping a lot more, I was helping others out with the maps. And eventually I became a part of the mapping assistance team, is what it was called. The MAT. You see, you had the BAT, the beat map approval team, and now you had the mapping assistance team. You had like purple names, and we could publish maps. Like, we didn't actually have any power. We had like our own little forum where we could do things, and yeah, we could publish maps, which is adorable. Like, what publishing was, for anyone that cares, it was like a prototype bubble. If you published a map, it sort of said, hey, this is kind of good. It was to give bats more incentive to go for those maps, because they're not like really bad. They're like, it's okay. It was cool. I mean, it was a cool thing. It didn't last very long, but it was fun. I also played in my first tournament here as well. It was the tag tournament, which I think is the first Osu tournament. I don't think there's been one before that, and if it was like such a small thing. Like, it had like a big tournament thread. It was like what you'd call a modern Osu tournament. It was like a 2v2 tag tournament. Hey, tag was a thing back here, guys. I teamed up with Hanyu, who's an awesome guy. He mapped a bunch of Mania before leaving, but he was an awesome dude. And we won a few matches, actually. It went pretty well. We lost inevitably to White Wolf and Needvids. I feel like I might be butchering his name. He was a cool guy. So yeah, Wolf dominating us in that one. Actually, I think it was quite close, but they actually went on to win the tournament, so it's pretty spooky. 2009 was a really good year. It was probably the most fresh year for Osu for me, just because there was so much that was new to me, and you know, it was a time when I really got into like the staff business, and I was like, whoa man, this is a big deal. So yeah, fun memories of 2009. Oh, and one more thing as well. Up until the end of this year, I was playing with mouse acceleration on, like, all the time. Ew. First things first, turn mouse acceleration off if you're wondering. It's terrible. Things kept steady in 2010. I was still playing for the score ranking, still playing every single ranked map that came out, tackling the top ranks with the likes of like Hiko was around there, Kipiricek, Harder was in there, no, Tobuta was before then, a few others, a lot of big names, really cool guys actually. I think a few of them still play. I know Hiko still hangs around occasionally. But yeah, still going on that. One thing I actually did during this is I attempted to make a little video going over storyboarding basics for like dummies, like a really basic storyboard coding video, because, well, the reason why I did that was because I felt like there wasn't really a super simple tutorial for the coding, and I thought I'd make something just completely bare bones, super duper simple, easy to digest, because the big thing that was there on the forums about this was a big link with all the functions and whatnot, which, if you're not a programming dude, it's a little bit weird, I found. Watching it back, it's really awkward. I mean, you know, you can check it out for yourself, which you can see. It's hard for me to watch, can you tell? But I mean, it goes over the basics. It's functional. My accent was so much thicker back then. That's one thing I'd say. My accent is much more Midlands pronounced back then than it is now.
You should have a little OSB file right there. Yep. That's where all your scripts goes, whether you be doing it manually or via the editor.
Also, I should probably mention that it took me like 15 takes to do, and that's not even an exaggeration. Like, I did the video in one take, and every time I stumbled on a word or something, I redid it. And I also have a really bad stutter, or like had one. I still kind of do, but I had one back then, and I wasn't very good at dealing with it. So yeah, I was quite conscious. Yeah. At the end of the year, actually, it was in December. I actually became part of the BAT for the first time. Like, I spent over a year doing stuff with the mat, and I mod things really regularly, and yeah, eventually I got the promotion to BAT, and I remember like being super duper overwhelmed by it because it felt like a really big responsibility. It's like you become a mod, it's like an official thing now, and I remember it pretty well. I was happy now. It's for those who are wondering what the BAT was, the BAT. It's essentially the precursor to the QAT. The Beatmap Approval Team is what it was called. It's essentially like a QAT, except you have like in-game moderation powers as well, so you could, you know, if you needed to silence or do whatever in in-game chat windows, you could. I don't think QATs have that now. I'm not too familiar. I didn't really use it a lot. Like, I wasn't there to moderate chats. I occasionally did when like I absolutely have to, but I mostly just focused on dealing with modding and like ranking stuff. So yeah, that's what I enjoyed. It was a good time. I ranked some spicy maps. Most of the stuff I ranked was pretty normal, but you know, I have a few I'm glad I brought into the fold. Or maybe I shouldn't be, but I am. I don't know. Also, I should mention that I don't think I had a single map that I ranked, but then got unranked after the fact. I don't think one of mine did during the time I was on the BAT. I'm kind of proud of that. Then again, I could be wrong. Maybe I am. As 2011 rolled on, I started to lose interest in the whole score farming thing at this point. Like, this is the point where I stopped keeping up playing with every single ranked map. Like, I started missing out some and just playing other things in the game. Like, I never stopped playing the game, but I stopped, like, trying to bash out every ranked map. And, of course, that led me to fall a bit behind the pack, slowly but surely, until I eventually fell out of top 10 by the end of this year, I think, if I remember. But yeah, this is essentially the start of the Please Enjoy game, I suppose, for me. This is actually also the last year that I got my own map ranked. My last ranked map that I uploaded was this year, and it was actually the Zun Non-Stop medley. I kept going with that, and after remapping it once, like, I mapped the whole thing in 2009, and then I remapped the whole thing again in 2010 because my style changed and I wasn't happy with it. Got it ranked this year on November 11th, 2011. That's the 11th of the 11th 11. And I promise you that wasn't planned. That was completely accidental. So yeah, I've had guest difficulties and like collab bits and bobs, like ranked since then, but that was the last one I uploaded. Since then, I'm lucky to finish any sort of map. This is also the first year of OWC. The first OC World Cup happened this year, hosted originally by Luna. Known as Less Lunatic for a while as well. And it was a pretty cool deal. Of course, I was there with the mighty UK lads. Our team at that point was me, Ave, Diamond Crash, Nateke, and Jericho2442. And of course, some of you might recognise a lot of those names as mappers. It was essentially a mapper team. I think the only person on there that didn't map was Ave. Ave being a really good UK player at the time. And the rest of us were just some UK lads being like, hey, this seems like fun, so we joined it. And it went great. We had a bye in the first match, and then we got smashed 3v4 by the USA in the second round. So that went well. We actually had to play it 3v4 because we couldn't get a whole team together. So we played it like us three. I forget who made it, but it was us three versus 4 USA, and their team was like super stacked at the time. Like they had the likes of Cyclone and Libidos and Mafia Master and whatnot on their team. Were really good players. So yeah, we got rocked. It was good though. It was fun, and it felt like a big deal. Like that's essentially the start of the tourney scene. Really, there was the bit where it's like what you think of one now. Yeah, good times. And of course, OWC was a huge failure, and it never ever happened again ever. That might be a lie. So basically, like 2012 is the PPV1 year, right? Like this is the year that PPV1 started. At the time, I definitely preferred it to score ranking, because by this point I was pretty bored of it. Like I'd had my fill of score ranking, and you know it was exciting. Like there's like a shiny performance metric now that tries to rank scores based on their like just performance. It was really cool, and I definitely preferred it to score ranking at the time. I mean, once it kicked in, my rank tanked quite a bit. Like I think I was a rank 200 odd at the time, which was massively lower than what I was in score at the time, which was, I think it was still top 50 then, maybe even like top 20 or something. So yeah, I got tanked pretty hard for that, but I definitely preferred it, at the time at least. I mean, now with PPV2 and all that, like, PPV1 was flawed. Like, I was ranked 60-ish, and my top performance was a hidden hard rock double time normal. It was One Winged Angel. And all my top performances were just hidden double time maps. It was like, because, well, easy hidden double time maps, I should say. Because a good hack on those gave you loads of rank for some reason. It was flawed. It wasn't great. This is also the year where I uploaded my very first live play. My venture into the world of OC live plays. I made it a bit of a faff. I could have maybe done it easier, but I wanted to make it look nice. So what I did was I got like a fancy point and shoot digital camera that I had to record my hands and whatnot, because I wanted the high quality at the time, because my webcam I had was absolutely shocking. And because I was on like a relatively rough system, I couldn't really record my play at the same time because it tanked my frames. Like I was off my Pentium 3. I was on to like my mighty Pentium 4 at this point, I think. But yeah, I couldn't really record it without it lagging a lot. So we had to do it all separately. And I had to record the replay separately and whatnot, and piece it all together and sync it up. Which is a bit of a faff, really. Could have done it easier, but hey, I wanted it to look kind of good. I don't know if it did. This is also the year where I left the BAT. I left the Beatmap Assistance team in this year, so the Beatmap Approval team, because I was starting up uni at the time, and I cited being busy and just generally losing interest in the modding scene at the time as to why I left, because you had to keep up a certain activity, right, to stay in it, and I was like, I don't fancy it, so I left. Awesome time, by the way. They treated me extremely well there. I had a lot of fun modding in that and ranking lots of bangers. It was really good. Awesome set of peeps there. I still talk to a lot of them now on and off regularly. Made some really good friends. But I lost interest in modding, so I left. Also, this was the year, I think, like near the end, was when I tried live streaming for the first time. Now, it was really just a spur of the moment thing. I don't remember much about this. I don't remember what I streamed to. I assume it's Twitch. It could have been Justin TV for all I know. I don't even remember what software I used. I don't know if it was OBS. Was OBS around in 2012? Like, I don't even know. It didn't run very well. I must have been like streaming at like 2 bitrate, and I was incredibly awkward, so I didn't know how to handle myself. Like, it was just weird, but I gave it a try because it seemed like it'd be fun to try. I think I had a few people come in as well in the chat, but not that I could really read it because I was playing full screen one monitor. But hey, I started streaming then, and it worked. I think hopefully improved it a bit in the future years. Oh yeah, and we didn't have a team in the World Cup for this year for the UK, and the reason for that was, so me and Jesse were putting together a team for it, right? That's me and Jesus1412. We had put together a team for it, we had it all set up, we were all good to go, and we were like, okay, let's post it in the thread, and we're all good. But we sort of expected the other person to post it, and then in the end neither of us posted it in the thread, and then we never got our team signed up. What the fuck? Alright, so 2013 rolled along, and I went along my merry way, playing lots of hidden double time hard diffs, because that's how rank worked in PPV1. Like, at this point the flaws in PPV1 were exploited pretty heavily. You know, you could go around and just hidden double time hard diffs with an SS on maps with lots of plays to gain tons of ranks, unless you were an absolute madman and you could say to do hidden hard with really good AC, like if you were like to lever or something, and you know, few and far between they were at this point. This year though, Tom94 came in and saved the day. Osu TP started here, which was basically the PPV2 prototype, and that, when it came out, was absolutely amazing. It really helped rekindle my competitive nature in the game again, because at the time with the mapping it was very close. Like, there was a very small fraction of maps that were like really heavily underrated or abused in it. I mean, there was obviously edge cases, but it was very close, and like trying to go for ranks on that was so much fun. Like, the way it worked, for those that don't know, is it had 3 different scores for aim, speed, and AC, and it works a bit different to PPV2. Basically, if you played a map that was worth a lot in one of those 3 categories, you got a lot of ranks for it. So like, if you played a map that wasn't worth much TP overall, but had loads of speed, you can get tons of ranks off it, just from improving like the individual stuff. And that made it a lot of fun. Especially with me, I really liked going for speed stuff, trying to go for the fastest maps on there, and trying to push that, as well as pushing everything else, you know, it was fun. But it was TP that really made me go for fast maps, and that's essentially when I got started being the fast boy, because I liked playing for speed maps on TP, so hell yeah, really fun system to play. This is also the year where I really started to get into streaming. Like, I wasn't necessarily crazy serious at this point, but I got into a habit around October time of streaming regularly. Like, I streamed like once a week or something. I think it was on like a Wednesday, I don't recall. But I streamed like once a week on Twitch at this point, and yeah, went on from there. Clicked lots of dots, and it worked out well. Like, people told me, hey man, you should do it more because people might watch it. So I did, and it's a lot of fun. Never stopped, really. This year was also the year of my favourite Osu World Cup to play in. The 2013 Osu World Cup was pretty awesome for the UK lads. We actually came 4th in this tournament, despite being one of the mid-seeds, I think. And we went on a pretty sick tear, knocking out loads of top teams, knocking out Thailand and Germany. And I remember we won a map against Korea in the semi-finals, 3v4. I think it was Pava Nocturnus. Oh, that was so sick. Yeah, the dream team of I Like Mudkips, Raharu, Jesse. Oh, good shit. And they were also just, it was just a load of banter. We were just sitting there fucking about, and somehow we did well. A good year, man, a good year. Of course, the UK fortunes in World Cup would get a lot better in a few years' time, but 2013, I have such fond memories of that World Cup. It was so much fun. 2014 in particular was a pretty big year for me in Osu. This was the year that PPV2 started, like when the Osu TP system eventually got implemented full on in the game, and to be honest, that in itself was a huge turning point. Like, before then, the staff had a bit of a reputation for sort of doing their own thing and not necessarily taking on too much from the community. I mean, they always have, but there was a bit of a reputation that they sort of did their own thing, but like when that got implemented, it was like a huge paradigm shift, it felt like, because like that was a huge community effort that became official. And of course, Tom94 is still around, more or less. He's busy with his business, but he still helps out. And yeah, no doubt, after that PPV1 debacle, holy shit, PPV2 was absolutely amazing at the time. I was a little bit disappointed with the fact that they ditched like the individual aim, speed, AC rating you'd get, and it was all about the total PP, meaning that I couldn't just improve one of those 3 things to get through, which is what I did in TP. Like at the end of TP, I was top 20 solely because like I had such a high speed score and a little bit of everything else. And when PPV2 rolled around, I think I was around rank 40 something, which was still like better than I had in PPV1. So I was like, dude, I'll take it. I'll take it. At this point as well, I was continuing to stream, of course. I eventually went on to stream like 3 times a week now. I'd increased the days a bit more and got more into it. And the stream started to really skyrocket at this point. Really helped by the fact that I was quite high rank in TP, and when PPV2 came out, I had a shiny top 50, which was an improvement. All these things helped out, and a lot of people came in. Many of you guys might still be here from that, in which case, holy shit. But thank you. And yes, I managed to, well, manage, that's the wrong word, isn't it? I started to dedicate more time towards that and became much more of a streamer dude. That sort of became what I was, because I'd stopped doing modding, I'd stopped mapping at this point, really. I've sort of slowly became a streamer dude, and went from there, and it got kind of crazy. I think this was the year where I was first recognised at an event I went to. Like, I remember it pretty clearly, actually. I went to MCM London. It was like a big sort of anime Comic-Con in London at the Excel. It's like a huge thing. I was just walking around, just being nosy around the event, and someone just tapped me on the back, and I turned around and he's like, "Are you Doomsday?" And I'm like, yeah, who am I speaking to? And I'm like, and the dude's like, the face he pulled, I'll never fucking forget it. Like, that was such a surreal moment. Like, when that happened, I walked off in absolute dumbfounded shock. I'm a dude that plays video games on the internet. I'm a nerd, really socially awkward. I mean, that's the kind of thing I expect, like, you know, the big shots to get. And yeah, I still can't quite believe it. It's happened a couple times since then, but I mean, I still can't quite believe it. I should probably move on, actually. I'll wax lyrical about this shit all day. Oh yeah, this is actually, I think, the first time where I got like a good placement in a relatively big tournament. I got 3rd place in Q Cup in this year, which was a big deal because it was sponsored by QPad, and it was like, whoa, it's proper, they're like a big company. And yeah, I got 3rd place in that. Got a few cool things for that as well. I got a pretty cool Q Cup themed mouse pad, which sadly is like in storage somewhere. I've no idea where it is right now, so I can't show it yet. I got a headset from QPad, which sadly broke 3 months later. Well, actually, Wolf was in that tournament, and I think his headset still works. Mine died straight away. Feels bad, man. And I also got this pretty sweet 3D printed Osu cookie sort of thing. It was made by Slain V, who was one of the commentators. So, yo, cheers for that, dude. It's a pretty cool little memento. It was just like the first little memento I got from this game, and I've still got it here, of course. Good times. 2015, man. Yeah, this year was probably the biggest year for me personally in this game. Like, so much happened in this year for me in this game, and just in life in general up to this point. Not least of which, of course, this was the year where I decided to go full-time with this streaming thing. In June 2015, I decided, yep, I want to keep doing this. I want this to be my entire focus, and I went for it. And of course, I'm still doing it 3 years on. So, of course, I got you guys on YouTube and the folks over on Twitch to thank for that. Yeah, it was a pretty ballsy move. I was in uni at the time. I was there actually over 2 years, but I decided to leave before finishing it up to pursue this, which may have been a bit of a dumb move, but I mean, I did game design, I have my portfolio, I got the skills from that. The only thing I'm missing is the shiny piece of paper, which really I should have finished off, but I have no regrets, honestly. I have absolutely no regrets with that. Although I will say, if you are in studies right now, I would recommend finishing them. Not the smartest move by me, but oh well, no regrets at all. This is also the year where I got my first sponsor. Quasar, the keyboard distributor, actually took us up and sent us some hardware to use on stream, which they continued to do for the next 2 years, and they treated me extremely well. They hooked us up, helped us out, and they also helped out with a lot of the events we run on the stream as well. They provided prizing for 3 of the 5 cookie cups we've hosted so far, and that wasn't like something we planned beforehand. No, it's like I just asked them if they wanted to help out and send some stuff over and provide some money prizing, and they did. So they did well with us when they were partnered. Good times. But yeah, of course, once the streaming became a bit more serious, more people watched, more people flooded in. The community really started to come together around now. Like, we had a bunch of people that we could call our own, like, community that were regulars and took part in everything. And this is the point where, like, things really became what they are now, and that was awesome. I streamed for a couple of years and we had lots of awesome people in, but things really became a togetherness thing around here, which is awesome. And of course, those guys are still with me, many of them from this time, and maybe even before that, which is awesome. In other, like, OSU bits and bobs, I actually won TOC. TOC being a 1v1 tournament, which was really stacked at the time. And that was an incredible tournament. I actually went on to win that. I had so many tiebreakers in that tournament, it just blows my mind. But somehow I managed to go on to win. I defeated Fedora Goose in the final. I think I faced off like against like Musty and Rohulk and the likes of that on the way there. So that was an excellent tournament. I was really happy with how I did. And I got some really cool stuff for it, actually. So when I won TOC, I got a few pretty cool things from it, actually. First of all, I got this shiny Maritime box sort of thing with a shiny medal in it. A fancy pants gold medal. Well, faux gold. It's pretty cool though. The TOC logo when it comes into focus. There we go. With the logo on it there. Winner of the TOC number 1 to 1K. Pretty sick. Like, winning medals for playing video games is pretty sick. All top 3 I think got that as well. And I also got a handwritten letter from God. It's what it was. It wasn't handwritten, but it was a letter from God. Came in this fancy thing, which I've like subsequently destroyed when I opened it. I also repurposed it to say happy birthday to Mr. Raffle, and on the other side as well. Yeah, repurposed it to say thank you Cookiesy. So hey, Raffle and Cookiesy, 2 awesome fellas. Yeah, wax seal. Look at that, fancy. Get in there. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this. I'm not very good at it. Here we go. Congratulations. Winner of the 4th TOC Doomsday. What a remarkable accomplishment. Just competing in the tourney would have been something to brag about, but to win it, well done. Please focus. I'm sure there must have been many times where you wanted to give up or got angry. It really doesn't want to focus. When spending time doing other things may have seemed more attractive than training. Your hard work and diligence have certainly paid off. Sure, we'll be seeing and hearing a great deal more about your achievements in the future. Keep up the good work. Hell yeah. And also the badge, which they never got granted. So I didn't get it. Hell yeah. Yeah, good old Tremorio, Mr. Zenyatta. Awesome dude. It's so cool. It's so cool. On top of all that, I also gotten the OWC winners pins because I was part of the commentary team for this year, and as a thank you they sent the casters the pins that the World Cup winners won, and pretty cool little bits and bobs there. I was essentially just going along my merry streaming way in 2016, you know, just doing my thing, clicking lots of dots for Twitch and uploading regular plays to YouTube at the time it was. Like this year there was a temptation to think of the stream as like a business thing, right? I was tempted to think of it as a business thing, but that ended pretty quickly because I found things were much more fun when you sort of just do what you want, right? Of course, I've always heard a lot of things about, you know, when doing internet stuff like this becomes a job, eventually, you know, you start to become a bit cold to it, it starts to get a bit dull. But I mean, I became a bit more flexible about it and just stuck to doing what I wanted to do, and I've managed to avoid that mostly, which is the reason why I'm still here. Still enjoyable to this day because I do what I want, and that's how it should be. It's a full-time hobby. That's what it is, a full-time hobby. Or, you know, it's a good way to be with these things. And I do hold myself to a decent schedule though. The original plan was to stick to a very strict schedule. I'd start at like 3 PM every weekday, but that sort of turned into like around 4 PM, give or take an hour or two. Like it was a bit organized, but I mean that's how I liked it because again, it's a full-time hobby. Organized chaos. A lot of people give me shit on stream about that, but it works for me. Like I say, it's important to keep that going. This was also the first time I hosted a Corgi Cup. The first Corgi Cup happened this year and went really well. It was my first proper hand at tournament organisation, of course, along with the awesome team I had on Twitch who helped me out. The peeps in the community, I couldn't have done it without them, of course, and it went very well considering it was the first edition. It was also my first proper hand at like doing map pools. I'd helped out with a couple, like here and there, but nothing major. Like I did all these map pools myself. I think it was reasonable. I mean, it was a bit flawed. I think we had to change one of the hard rock maps in the first round because it had a really high HP drain or something, but you know, it was mostly smooth. We had a sick Voltron tiebreaker. I mean, if you're going to end a tournament, you play it with a banger like that, let's be honest. 2017, still streaming, still clicking dots, still living the dream essentially. More Corgi Cups, of course, that we hosted here. They got bigger and better. The staff team increased, the player list increased. And things became super cool. Good shit. At this point, really, the idea of me streaming for a living just felt really normal. Like, at this point, it was just what I did. I was a live streamer. Like, if people ask me what I did, I'd tell them I do live streaming on the internet. And if I was talking to like older people, I'd say something along the lines of, I do internet TV, because that's a more tangible thing. But you know, it's at this point, it felt very normal, and that was very strange for me. But at this point, I was surprised it was still going. I expected this whole thing to fall apart 6 months in, but at this point, we were knocking 2 years, and yeah, it was still going. At this point as well is when I started, I became a bit of a slow boy, because of the fact that I did all the speed maps that I wanted to, that was AR8. The only ones I really had left were AR9 stuff, and I really struggled at reading high AR. I always have. So I eventually just stopped playing stream maps, and I eventually fell out of practice. That's why I'm a bit of a slow boy now. I tend to play a bit of everything now. I need to get back on that grind, to be honest. But yeah, at this point, doing my thing, becoming an all-rounder. At this point, I was starting to become the old man of Osu, because I'd been around fucking ages at this point. Oh, I also got sent stuff. I got sent lots of cool stuff. On my birthday this year, Yaz and everyone else on our Discord sent me this card, this fancy pants thing. I could do without my fedora on the front, to be honest. But you know, it was full of all sorts of lovely messages from the community on there, put together by Yaz. It was so awesome. I opened it up on stream. I'm not sure where the VOD's at. I'm sure I can get it, but this is a good look at everything. It was so sweet. Of course, still got it tucked away. Got to take care of it. A lovely piece. So thank you very much, Yaz and Co, for that. It was lovely. And I also got sent this portrait by Sonia Joan. Actually got sent the original here. This just blows my mind. Like stuff like this, like I couldn't even fathom people putting this much hard work to do something like this for me. And yeah, to just hold the original was really cool and have it sent over. So thanks for that, Sonia. Sonia's done a bunch of awesome fan art for us as well. Actually, there's quite a bit of art that's been sent in now over the years. I keep all of it saved. I keep all of it tucked away. And like I said, this thing in particular, it hits me square in the feels. Like very talented people put their time aside to create this stuff because they believe what I do is worth it, I guess, which surprises me. Again, I play video games on the internet and talk shit, but like I said, this stuff just it hits me square in the feels, man. So anyone that sent in things like this is so amazing, and I can't thank you all enough. I love stuff like this. Cheers, guys. And the present day, 2018, 10 years on, and 3 years on from streaming, I'm still doing it full time. Holy shit. Like, I wouldn't have predicted that one. Not a chance. And 10 years on from OS, I'm still not done with it. Like, 10 years on, I'm still extremely passionate about this game, and it's still something that I can play for like hours and hours on end and still not be sick of it. Like, when I started playing this game, man, I was 14. I was still in secondary school, and I was this awkward, nerdy dude with a bad stutter. And now I'm 24, and I'm still a nerd, and I still kind of have a stutter, but it's not nearly as bad. It's crazy. I mean, of course, over the last 10 years, the community has grown a massive amount. When I started, the total amount of accounts was in the 5 digits, I think. I think it was like 17k or something. And you'd have no more than about 100 odd people online at any one time. It was basically the case of anyone that spent more than like a week on this game. Everyone knew everyone, right? It was such a tight-knit thing. And obviously over the last 10 years, things have become a lot bigger. Insanely bigger, in fact, to the point where Osu is like a big game at this point. And I mean, of course, like, the community these days does tend to get a lot of shit for one reason or another, because of course now it's gotten really big. You know, it comes with the big community negatives, and obviously you do get bad things, don't you? Of course, you can't help it when the community is this big. And obviously things aren't nearly as tight-knit on the whole as it used to be. But, of course, I've never fallen out with the community in 10 years. And the thing is, with those tight-knit groups that a lot of people sort of yearn to have like they did back in the day, they never went away. They just moved to smaller communities in the game. They moved into more specific things. Because the community is so big now, you know, you can have communities the size of the 2008 community or 2009 community over one particular niche that people are into. They just moved into, you know, individual like Discord groups, or like individual like sort of in-game things, or, you know, they just went with that. And those groups are where the magic is. That's still, you know, it's very comparable to how things were overall. You know, the tight-knit didn't go away, lads. It just moved. It just moved. And I've never fallen out with the whole community because it's just got such a special place with me, you know? It kind of does. Like, spending 10 years and as many hours as I have, that tends to happen, right? But yeah, I've never gotten bored of it. I can still, like, if I've had a dodgy day or I'm not feeling great, I can just fire up Osu and just chill. More than any other game. It's still the game I enjoy streaming the most. And, yeah. I guess most people would find that a bit weird after you spend so much with a game, but that's how it's worked out for me. And of course, the streaming thing, it can't last forever. Surely not. Days must be numbered. But I mean, even if it isn't, I'm not going away. Just saying. It's just going to become a hobby I do on the side, and I can't see myself not streaming regularly. Like, at this point, I can't imagine myself not doing that. It's second nature at this point. Just firing up stream and just doing my shit on stream, it's natural to me, and it's quite an important outlet, you know. I'm normally quite a quiet dude. I'm quite a reserved dude. Anyone that's met me in person can probably attest to that. But, you know, on stream, I tend to just rant and rave and talk shit. It's very therapeutic. It's very therapeutic for me. And I think if I didn't do that, I'd really yearn for it. And the fact that a pretty dedicated community has managed to support that, and I have those guys at my back, and you all know who you are, to let me do that, is something I'm never going to forget. It's something I'm always going to cherish. Like, this is like the dream for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people want to be an internet-y dude. I mean, of course not everyone, but a lot of people do. And the fact that I've been able to live that for 3 years, and counting, of course, is something that I will always be thankful for. And even when this whole thing dies down, I can look back at it in 20 years' time as something that, you know, only a 0.000x% of people were ever able to do. So yeah, even if this thing disappears, I'm sure as hell we're going to be here still. Again, cheers for that, guys. Thank you very much. You made that happen. I didn't do it. You did. You did. So, what's the plans from here for the stream and YouTube and whatnot? I'm going to play video games and talk shit, probably. I have ideas for different things I want to do with the YouTube thing in particular. Of course, I haven't been uploading plays to this as much as I used to, mainly because I sort of just, you know, I just got a bit bored of posting regular plays. I still post stuff when I get stuff that I feel is really worth it, but I'm certainly going to keep doing stuff occasionally, and I might do some other things with it, OC related mostly. It's a case of whether I can do that and not stream, because I tend to stream a lot, you see. If you're wondering where I am, I stream a lot on Twitch, if you haven't picked that up from a ramble yet. So yeah, hopefully some of that made sense. I might have just rambled on for 5 minutes. I'm continuing on into my 11th year of Osu now. It's crazy. It's reaching the point where there's going to be people playing this game that weren't even born when I started. And I don't plan on going anywhere yet, so hopefully you guys don't mind me hanging around doing my thing, because you're stuck with me, I'm afraid. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone that's watched, everyone that supported, everyone that's subbed here, anyone that's followed or subbed, especially on Twitch, for making the last 10 years awesome. And anyone before that as well, who chatted, helped me out, played video games, and supported us over the last 10 years on the Osu. You all have made me a very happy person. So, love you all, guys. Take care of yourselves, everyone. And I'll see you soon.